Hi, Barbara. Here are the top 5 security facts we learned this week. The Trump administration has agreed to consider a long-standing request from the United Arab Emirates to begin discussions towards purchase of the F-35 stealth fighter. Defense News reported that while a decision has not yet been made, the willingness to consider providing classified briefing to the UAE as the first step toward acquisition signals a departure from policy enforced under Barack Obama. He sought to preserve Israel's status as the only country in the region to receive the 5th-generation fighter. The Israeli and Emirati air forces, both threatened from Iran, have flown together in multinational air exercises in the U.S. and more recently in Greece. Israel's defense ministry declined to comment on the report. Japanese media reported that a tunnel at North Korea's nuclear test site collapsed this week after Pyongyang's 6th atomic test in September, possibly killing more than 200 people. About 100 workers at the nuclear site were affected by the initial collapse, which took place around September 10th, the broadcaster said, and a second collapse during a rescue operation meant it was possible the death toll could have exceeded 200. Experts have said a series of tremors and landslides near the nuclear test base probably mean the country's 6th and largest blast in early September has destabilized the area. Now we move to number 3. French President Emmanuel Macron and his Malian counterpart, Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, welcomed this week Washington's pledge of $60 million to support counterterrorism in the Sahel region. The U.S. pledge will go to the group of Sahel states' joint forces counterterrorism efforts. The force, which will eventually comprise nearly 5,000 troop units from Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Chad, and Mauritania, is meant to counter a growing jihadist threat in West Africa's arid Sahel region that includes groups linked to al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. Around 4,000 French soldiers remain in the Sahel region as part of Operation Barkhane, where they work alongside around 10,000 UN peacekeepers in Mali. Israeli, Australian, and New Zealand leaders in Beersheba this week commemorated the centennial of a joint battle that took place there. On the 31st of October 1917, Australian and New Zealand cavalry galloped towards Turkish trenches and seized control of the city, a strategic crossroads and important water source. The leaders attended a traditional New Zealand war dance, and during their respective speeches, both the Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu and the Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull highlighted the significance of the battle within the creation of the State of Israel. And finally, the CEO of Israel's largest state-owned defense firm has been barred from stepping foot on U.S. shores for more than 6 years. Defense News reported that repeated U.S. visa denials for Joseph Weiss of Israel Aerospace Industries is apparently linked to former IAI consultant Stuart David Nozet, an American scientist who admitted back in 2009 to selling secrets to agents he thought were from the Israeli Mossad. Nozet's handlers were actually undercover FBI agents, and nowhere in court records, according to the report, did the U.S. government accuse Israel, IAI, or Weiss of any wrongdoing.